All right, welcome everybody. You made it. It's Friday, and man, I don't know what the weather's like where you're at, but here in Ohio, finally, it's starting to feel a little like summer, which is awesome because it hasn't. It's been a really cold spring, but finally, yeah, we're there, and life is good. It's just really good. So Friday is our hubcast, as always. 2 o'clock Eastern is when we like to go live. Hence is why you were here. So I'd like to say hello, everybody that is here. Just getting curious where everybody's from. If you want to pop it down into the chat, or actually, it's I think it's over on this side since we're live, and then afterwards it will be down there. So just kind of curious where everybody's watching from today. It's kind of a big weekend for us because literally I pack up and hit the roads tomorrow. Oh, goodness, yeah. And start heading down towards Wilmington, North Carolina. That's where Techno Security's at this year. So that's going to be exciting. We're going to be broadcasting all week from Wilmington. So make sure that if you're down at that show, stop by, say hello. And if you're a member of Cyber Social Hub, or number one, if you're not, you should go and sign up. If you are not a member, or even if you are a current member and don't have one of these little guys yet, see, it's still this one's still in the wrapper. Our challenge coins, I'll make sure you get one of these things. We're bringing a ton of them. So make sure you stop by and get it. Oh yeah, you see the shirt. Oh, wrong side. Yeah. Yeah, Osmosis Con. Went to the last couple of years to that conference. It's awesome. If you're OSINT, must go to. There it is. There's my plug. Speaking of, one more thing that I got to cover here real quick is our trivia is kicked on. So June's trivia is active. And man, if I didn't forget to notify last month's trivia winner, I don't think I did. No, I didn't. So sorry about that. I'll notify you. Last month was like literally 2 days ago. So I'll get you notified and rock it. But this month is a different spin on it, right? So Vound is actually sponsoring this trivia, and it is Marvel and e-discovery knowledge. Oh, so Marvel Comics and e-discovery is trivia, and what you can do is your chance to win a $100 gift card. Just head on in there and check it out. If you can't see, if you're using the mobile app, so the app for iOS and Android, we added a new button. So it's in the lower, right corner, hit more, and then you'll see trivia. You can actually do it there. If you're on the desktop, you'll see it's a big QR code. Hit it with your phone and off and running trivia. There you go. Yeah, and there's actually a decent prize behind it. So there you have it. All right. So with that all out of the way, let's bring a friend of mine onto the show. There he is. Man, I have known you, Justin, for more years than I care to admit, I think, at this point.
Yeah, we've been around.
Yeah, I think it was definitely before this gray spot, and yeah, definitely before that one as well. So, yeah.
That's why I got to keep shaved, is my whole beard is gray. So,
yeah, I've considered the coloring thing, but I'm just like,
nah, it's cool.
Do it.
But I did, while you were talking about your challenge coin, I did find mine.
Oh, look at that. Sweet.
My Cyber Social Hub challenge coin. So
did you ever get one of these things?
So I have.
You got OG. That's like season 1.
Yeah.
That's so like the very first year we were giving those out, was that color.
Yeah.
So you got the original. I think I have one of those. We can't get them in other colors anymore. They're too expensive now.
Well, I got the blue, so
that's awesome. Yeah, got the OG. Very cool. So Justin, obviously, Exterro, right? FTK.
Yep.
Right? Most listeners would know the term access data if I said that.
Yeah.
And now Exterro. So tell everybody a little bit who doesn't know, which I think most people probably have seen or met you at some point here on the show. How did you get started in the chaos of digital forensics?
So funny. I was in college and was getting my degree in computer information technology. And you basically have to become an IT guy. No offense to any IT guys. watching, but I just realized, you know what, that isn't for me. I didn't want to do it. And at the time I was working for campus police as well. And I'm not on do not disturb, but so I was working for campus police, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna go. I signed up for the PT and mental testing and all that sort of stuff to become a cop in my hometown. And then one of my professors was like, hey, you can be a computer cop if you go get this degree and do this. So I was like, hey, cool. So I went and got a degree from Purdue University in cyber forensics, work, and then got a job with the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation doing that. And then like, this is the funny story between me and Kevin and how we eventually met. But Rick Warner was afraid that I would quit BCI and move back out west where I'm from. I'm from Washington State. So he's like, I'm going to hook Justin up with Kevin DeLong as a contract instructor for Access Data.
That's right.
So that he's making a bit more, making a little bit more money on the side. He's happy, blah, blah, blah. Well, I did that for about a year. And then Kevin's like, hey, come on full time. And
sorry, Rick.
We'll pay you more money and have some fun and whatever. So I was like, all right. So that's how I got into the private side of Access Data, and then Exterro bought us. But yeah, so that kind of was I give Rick a bad time of the all-time backfire. But yeah, it's a good time. So that's kind of my backstory in a nutshell. But yeah,
I haven't talked to him in quite a few years yet. I think we're on one of the social medias together. I see all the stuff that he's up to. But yeah.
I ran into him maybe last year, and it was a good time. He's good.
Now you were just here in Ohio, right? Like this week or last week? Was it this week?
Last week was the Ohio HTCIA summit at Salt Fork, and so I presented there and hung out with those guys for a couple of days.
This is the first year I've actually missed it in probably quite some time. It was sad. I just so much going on right now. It's insane. It's hard to make all these shows, but
yeah,
came back.
Because I'll be at Techno again next week as well, and then ICAC the week after that. So
that's right. You gotta. Where's that at? In the ICAC's down in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So that's the big thing is Techno starting here in just a couple days.
Yeah, I fly out Sunday.
Okay.
So
you get there Sunday, and then it lasts. I think the show go through Wednesday, right? Or no? Thursday.
Yeah. If you're attending, I think there's classes on Thursday. But as far as us lowly vendors, we're done on Wednesday. I have presentations at on Monday and Tuesday, and then Dan Sumter also has a presentation on Tuesday.
Oh, so nice. Well, Mo will be down at ICAC. Make sure you look just
hit us up. I'll get you a hat and some socks. That's what I got.
Socks. How awesome. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
So yeah, for sure. Drop by the booth. For sure. We'll be there. So
that's always fun. That's always fun. Hey, even Mo's saying that she loves the socks, man.
I don't have any in here, but they are. We get compliments on the quality of our socks, so they're good socks. Anyway.
Yeah, even Megan, behind the scenes, Megan there, our magic behind the curtain, says she's like. So I'm gonna have to get some socks, Megan. I'll grab you some socks. You guys are gonna have the socks at Techno.
We'll have the socks at Techno. We have hats at Techno. We've got a bunch of junk, so you know how it is.
Yeah, everybody's like, I want the socks. I'm like,
we told our event staff, we're like, hey, socks are money. People love socks, and they're like, really? And then we brought socks. I think for the first time, Techno San Diego or one of those, and man, loved them. So
awesome. I didn't get it. I didn't even know you guys were. I saw you in San Diego. Yeah, I didn't get no stinking socks, man.
Well, I think it was a test run. I think they only brought like 10 pairs or something. And then when people kept coming back asking for the socks, then they're like, all right, we're on board. So
Manny, you have them in size 16. I need size 16. Manny, I think if you tie like two of them together and like cut them and then sew them, you'll be fine. You got it, man.
Yeah, I think I tried to give Manny a pair at IASIS, and that's what he said. He's like, yeah, you don't make them big enough. So I'll let him know, Manny. I'll let him know.
We should, so down at the where you were just at the Ohio HTCIA, Manny just mentioned that he's Bigfoot, and they have actually, I don't know if it's still the week before, but every year at that
Yeah.
conference, the week before, they have one of the Bigfoot conferences there. I kid you not, Manny, it is really the Bigfoot conference. These people come out and they're like, search for Bigfoot. So, man, imagine if we dressed Manny as big as he is in a Bigfoot outfit, somebody to have him strapped to the hood of the car.
We got to do it. We got to do it now. The whole gift shop and everything is themed around Bigfoot. That'd be
It
awesome.
is. It absolutely is. It'd be like Harry and the Hendersons taking him home. Ah. Oh man, man, he's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. No, absolutely not. Man, that's no fun. I get some liquor in him. He'll do it. He'll absolutely do it. Oh, good times. Anyway, oh goodness, I forgot even why we're here. I'm just chatting away, like it. So you want to talk a little bit about some forensic tools, right? Now, obviously, I gave it away all in the title when I set this up originally, but because FTK's had the same look for
ever, literally.
Yeah, I think I remember. There's only been so when there was version 1, I remember, and then 2.0. I remember when that came out.
No one remembers when that came out.
Yeah, yeah, that was the
nobody used 2.0.
The challenge, right, with software development. Yeah, it is what it is. And then it's had its same look for ever since, right? I think 2 was a big change, and then it did some things, but now there's something brand new, and we're going to get into that.
Yeah. Right. So we were kind of talking before it started, though. We kind of in the industry, I know the one thing we don't have is time. We always joke like, hey, you got plenty of time, And so what has happened over the years, I think, is that the investigative needs as well as the software has kind of gone to this. I'm going to say watered down, but that's got a negative connotation. A simplified. It's focused on review, and if we think about forensics, right, most of the time, even in your cases, it's like, what do you need to do? You need to find a picture of something or a video or an email or a document. So most of the time you're searching and you're looking. But we were talking a little bit before, and I see this quite a bit, where the impact of that rush, that pressure to close cases has kind of been, I'm just going to say it, detrimental to us as investigators. We don't learn a lot of the fundamentals, I think, anymore. And not throwing anybody under the bus because we won't mention names, but I've had a couple things. I help out the support guys here at Exterro when different technical questions come through, and sometimes they'll be like, now, first off, I'm not so arrogant to think FTK doesn't have any bugs or problems. Like, don't get that in your head. But sometimes they'll come in and be like, hey, something's wrong with the software. It's not displaying this partition. And you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And then you look at the hex and there is no partition. It's like all been zeroed out. Somebody's wiped it or screwed with it in some way. And you try to explain it to them, and that doesn't even register. They don't even understand. They just, well, what's wrong with FTK that it can't read it? Well, there's nothing to read,
right.
Or if E01s they hash the checksums of the segments, right? They don't actually hash the end file. We get that one a lot where they're like, hey, I validated FTK Imager's E01 output, and it doesn't validate with some, just hashing program. Well, yeah, but it's not a forensic hashing program. It doesn't know what an E01 is, so it's imaging the whole file. And so you get these things where we've become so reliant on the tool to do literally everything that we don't know. And we don't know a lot of the underlying stuff. And it causes problems. It causes doubt. And that having been said, I think with FTK, we've done a good job of trying to walk this line of providing people with a new, clean review interface. Because, again, you're under time crunch. You need to get the stuff you need fast. You don't want to dig through hex, or you don't want to have this complex interface. But at the same time, we're not getting rid of that ability and that validation and that verification in the back end, because our product team, our tech teams are very tuned into that need to have that ability. So we're gonna look at the review interface, but I think it's important that we all understand, like, hey, let's not totally kick over to an e-discovery mindset. Wait, to a high level mindset and understand and forget the forensics. I know that was big with you when I came on board. It was all about, all our training classes were like, here's how you use the tool, yes, and here's how you get the data, but also how is that data structured, right? How is that built, etc.
That was kind of always the awesome thing, is that Exterro access data always used to train that, hey, here's the problem, here's how to dig through all the hex, and the tool was just the tool in the background, right? They were teaching that concept with it, and I get what you're talking about with there's got to be a balance between, like you said, needing that information, so essentially pushing that button, and you still have to know how that works to be a true examiner. You have to know. It's like, pilots don't know just that pulling back on the stick makes the airplane go up. They know what's going on to make that happen. Right? You have to know those things.
Right. And I still remember, so like we said, Kevin hired me out of BCI, and we start, and he's like, all right, in 3 months, I need a SQLite class that's 3 days long. And it's not just on query writing or like what you see in the tool. We need to know the header and the hex and how it's populated and all that stuff. And so now, fast forward years, it's become a big hobby of mine to work with SQLite. But if that isn't a nerd hobby, I don't know
That's
what
nerd.
is.
Yeah.
But when things go wrong, when data doesn't show up, or when you need to carve data or find data in random places, I know how it works in the database, so I can find it and I can put it back together, even if my tool won't, or even if it's doing it wrong, right? You can do that. So super important. And I think the takeaway here is we're going to show the new interface of where FTK is going. And for any of you who've used FTK in the past, and especially for those that are very familiar with FTK, this will be a shock. Like,
I'm looking forward to be
honest. Give your honest feedback in the chat. We need it. We want it. But it's a total overhaul, and very focused on review. But we're not getting rid of the low level validation, checking, the important forensic stuff. We just understand that, hey, we need to go fast. We need to get the stuff that we want quick. So yeah. Anyway, so that's my soapbox. Put that away. Nice. And
I want to go back a little bit real quick before we move on here. And because I know you're not the type of guy to ever say it, but I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you need SQLite information, get a hold of this guy. Because it's no joke. He took that project years and years ago very seriously. And now you give, how many talks a year do you give just SQLite alone? Probably.
Because I love it. I try to do a couple every year.
Yeah. You've been nonstop with it. It's great.
So yeah.
No. So, and I'm not, no kidding. If SQLite, that's your guy right there. So, okay. Now, cause I know you're not going to do it, so I'm going to prop you up for you. So awesome with that. And
thank you.
Yeah. All right. What about FTK has changed? Just like a couple buttons moved, or?
Well, so if I'm sharing my screen right now.
Oh, hang on. I will switch to that. I'm going to go hide and let you run with this for a few minutes. There we go.
We'll just pop it up.
Do it. There we go.
So this is what the new interface will look like if you're viewing graphics. Obviously, depending on the stuff that you're going to view, it's going to look a little different. But what we've done is, so I should pop up old FTK. I call it old FTK only because we're updating to 8.0 here this summer, but I'll show you here in a minute when it loads up. But the emphasis on this is to show the content two people very clearly, very easily. Also, I'm only in wireframes right now because they've taken my demo server, not mine, but our down. They're updating. Funny to me story. This button right here, which opens up some different options and whatnot, was not there when I was meeting with the developers. They were showing me, they were walking it through. And then 4 hours later, when I was demoing it to some salespeople in-house, that button was there on the server. That's like the type of server I'm on, messing around with this stuff. So it's down right now. So I can't, whatever. So we'll be doing some screenshots, but this is how it looks and they're screenshots. So the idea again is to make it accessible to as many people as possible, whether you're like platinum, hex diving, certified in literally everything forensics, or brand new. So you can see simplified thumbnail view, big thumbnails, clear. We added dark mode, which administrator and my super secret password of 123. Don't tell anybody. So we'll get that launched up. But we added dark mode. If you don't like dark mode, don't worry. You can stare at a flashlight. There's a little toggle button that'll just flip it into
Nice.
into white mode. And so this first version 8.0, which comes out later this summer, we've really focused around multimedia review. We've been working closely with like Internet Crimes Against Children, talking with people there, with various law enforcement agencies in the United States and the UK, and what they need to do multimedia review quicker and easier in forensics in general. But of course, we build FTK, so we focus on that, changing thumbnail size, basic stuff, nothing too revolutionary. One thing that I do like that I honestly didn't think I would like is as you mouse over these tiny little guys, they blow up big.
Oh,
I thought that would
box.
be,
That's cool.
huh?
Little light box, like it pops right up.
Yeah. And I didn't think I would like it, but I actually really do. We've done multimedia review out there, you get it, your thumbnails to about this size. Also a mutual friend of Kevin and I, Nick Jenkins, we built an Arduino to just page down FTK. So you'd plug the Arduino into the USB port, and then FTK would just scroll the thumbnail pane down.
Nice.
So we could just kick back, and then if we saw something, you hit spacebar, which would pause the Arduino for 5 seconds, and then you check mark what you wanted, and then it just resumed. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but
nerds.
I know. So yeah, you can highlight over, get some basic information there on your shot, on your picture there. What device it came from, the location, if there is it, that sort of thing. So any duplicate information will also be here based on either MD5, like traditional hashing, or for law enforcement, we support photo DNA. And then if you're not law enforcement, we ship with phash. But that's kind of the same idea where it's kind of a fuzzy hash, a lot more complicated than that. But if the image has so much similar, it'll come back as a dupe. So this is a big improvement over previous versions of FTK. So FTK has always had the ability to flag duplicates, but it didn't group them, one. And there was no real indication, unless you created a column set, that something was a duplicate. So it was kind of this thing that we had in there, but was so hard to use that it was like, I don't know if anybody's an FTK user, how many use the duplicate feature? But now we're stacking them up here.
That's awesome.
So that you can be like, oh, hey, there's this image here has 12 duplicates. But if let me go forward just a touch, a bunch, and then we'll come back right here. So then in this one, for example, we can click on the stack, and it's going to bring that stack out. In this case, the reason why it's important, you'd be like, well, wait a minute, they're duplicates. Why would I want to view them all? Well, in this case, we're using photo DNA or phash, And so this is, you can see like these two images here and maybe this one here. This would, they would not get an exact hash match, right? Because we have some color gradient stuff here. We have smoke, different color flame. So if you were only using known file filter or Project Vic, where it's using just the straight up MD5 or SHA-1, you're not going to get a hit. So with p hash, this kind of exploded view makes it like, okay, what's been changed? Because this is a pretty simplified version, but did they crop it? Did they write a note in it? That sort of thing. It allows you to kind of explode those out because p hash is, again, fuzzy, and so you can have little things in there. And so we made it super simple, one, to even identify the duplicates, big thing, and two, to, if you wanted, you can blow those out and take a look at those dupes. So I think that's pretty handy.
That's really cool.
If you don't want to stack your dupes, you can turn it off. It, you know, because you may just want to have it all, you know, showing. So you can do that. Here's kind of a funny thing and why it's so important that technical guys, former investigators interact. And when like we're at conferences, even if it's negative, you give feedback to your vendors. I don't care if it's Exterro, Magnet, Celebrite, you should always give them the feedback. Here's an example. So one of the things that this view will do is if you mouse over a video or an animated GIF, but they don't have sound. But if you mouse over a video, it'll start to play, right? So you don't have to go anywhere. Well, in the first iteration, it played sound. It would like literally play the video. And we're like, listen, no investigator ever wants to hear the sound unless they absolutely have to. You know, you guys know that is like the most traumatic part of any video is the audio. And so its sound is now off by default when we got our feedback to them. But if you had a case where you had to have sound, you can toggle this on. And then when you mouse over, it'll play the video with the sound. But that's one of those things where, you know, when you're at a conference or if they come out to your office or if they reach out to you via email and they're like, hey, you know, how are you liking FTK or how are you liking Axiom or Physical Analyzer or Premium or whatever you're using? It really is detrimental to all the users to just say, it's fine, or to ignore it really. Because like, I know our product team and our developers, they want to put, Kevin, when you were doing the product management, you want to hear that, you need that information, you know,
kind of important.
And that's how the tool gets better. And I know I'm so guilty of this. So when I worked at BCI, if there was a problem with any software that we used, it didn't matter. I never contacted anyone. It's just like, can't do it. Just figure it out. Well, it's never going to get better. Anyway, here's just a small example of where the software was optimized when we were going through it. And we're like, listen, turn off the sound. And so they added this little toggle in there. So, you know, something simple. Again, we've been working with ICAC. We've been working with law enforcement agencies in the UK. And so we have really focused on getting our categorization to where it needs to be, both automatic and manual categorization of CSAM content. So right here, we're seeing the CADE, Project CADE, which is like the VIC in the UK stuff, all keyboard shortcut, that sort of thing. We have a bunch of mental health things that we've put in as well. Yeah. So once you categorize something, you have two options. You can either hide it, which it won't show. You can either hide viewed or hide tagged. So that way, when you tag something in like Vic or CADE or whatever, it'll just go away in your interface. You can always bring it back, or if you still want an indicator of how much stuff and where you've been, you can we just pixelate it. So, hey, I've labeled this as contraband, pixelate that so it's no longer just like up on the screen in my face type thing.
Oh,
So,
that's nice. Prevent you from burning your eyes out as an examiner. That was the
yeah,
worst.
yeah, exactly.
And that's great
And
that you guys took the time to think of that.
I think it's important because this is relative to the human, whatever. This is kind of a new thing. And I know a lot of you probably are still doing this. I've done it in the past. It's not fun. And who knows the long-term effects of those who are looking at it long-term. And so anything we can do to minimize it. And so the other thing that we've done to that is we're working on improving our Project Vic and CADE integrations. We're partnering also with like Semantics 21,
Oh, nice.
so that we can export stuff to their stuff because they have very powerful AI and categorization and searching features and stuff. So we're partnering with various people in the industry as well to try to lighten the load of these types of cases.
Yeah, those were always the worst. And of course, when I was doing forensics and when you were actually active, I think that's probably the most prevalent type of case was what we call
Yeah,
CSAM today, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it was horrible.
yeah, yeah. Not fun, but we're trying to do what we can to help you guys out. Um, through those types of things. If you're in the United States, Project Vic, we have also added the federal sentencing enhancing guidelines to that, so that not only do you have the base Vic categories, you can also tag with the enhancements as well if you do that. I know some states don't, some places don't. It's all over the place, but options, just giving you options.
That's right.
So,
That's great.
So this is a full deck, but the other thing you can do is in the thumbnail view, if you want, you can toggle this on to where if you click on these guys, they'll give you like the EXIF data or the location information. I have some better shots of that. So you're going through your thumbnails, view your image. And then what's going to happen is this metadata is going to pop out. Okay. If you want to view more stuff, this will scroll down to show you any and all metadata we parse out of this. And so EXIF data will be here. If it's a document data will be there, etc. Where it came from, it'll associate it with the artifact that it came from, any associated information with that thing. So in this case, it was in a WhatsApp message, and then it'll say who it's from and any basic information. So Mike Hamilton and then a phone number. These dates and times. So this so far has almost been just a reskin. Okay, if we look at FTK in our graphics tab, I don't know about you guys, but this doesn't look anything similar to me, especially on my busted machine that I'm running on. I need to format. So thumbnails, etc. But all in all, functionality wise, except for like some duplicates and some little things here, we've just reskinned it to make it look better, to flow better, that sort of thing. But one of the new features that we've added and put a lot of time in is timeline. And I'm going to show you a more robust version, but this is what I call the mini timeline. And so this won't always show. But let's say I want to see the disk modified time here. You have the EXIF. We'll parse out a bunch of dates, but in this case, right here, I click on this date. I just click on it. It's a button. And out will slide the mini timeline. And it's going to show us where this date and time associated with this file lines up in our data up and down here. So we can see, okay, hey, some chats were going back and forth and a picture was sent. All right.
That's awesome.
Each file may have multiple entries, right, in a timeline. And you may care about them, Kevin, in different places. Because if I care about when's the photo taken, well, that's the EXIF date. Okay. It may not be the created time, because the created time is when I took it off the phone and copied it to this computer or whatever. So maybe I want to see when was it copied to the machine. So I'm going to choose that date, the disk created date. Now in this screenshot, it's stupid. It's all the same, but you get it. And so then it's going to show you, okay, hey, it was copied here. Here's what was going on around it. Okay, when was it taken? That may or may not make sense depending on what data you have loaded in. Because if you're looking at like a thumb drive or a return from like Google or something, your data may whatever. But the idea is you can jump between the times and see what was happening at different stages very easily around, you know, that thing, that spot. So timeline, cool. We've got a lot more cool stuff with that. But yeah, anyway, like this. Full-fledged timeline. So who here, poll question, used mobile phone examiner way back in the day? There was a time where we were actually giving it away for free. But you'll remember, Kevin, mobile phone examiner had a timeline feature.
Mm-hmm.
Actually was pretty decent. See, that's the thing that I think hurts so much thinking back on MPE. A lot of industry firsts with mobile phone examiner.
Yeah.
And I know you had a lot of play in that, but like the timeline feature, the way that we implemented, no one else was doing that at the time.
Yeah.
The
Mostly, mostly Lee was the brain around that, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, which is true. I know Lee worked a lot on it, and now all that stuff's in Oxygen. It's his brain, you know. So the timeline feature was there. The Python scripter was one of the first that in a forensic tool that was open. Like there's a lot of forensic stuff or Python stuff that was closed. And then the other one was the SQLite wizard. Basically, we were one of the first ones with Sanderson that was implementing that. So anyway, RIP MPE, but
you made a rhyme. Sorry, I had to throw it in there.
It's the simple things. But our timeline here. So we focused really heavily on making this easy to use. Your standard stuff is zeroing into the date and times up here on the top, but you can also filter what you're going to see down here in the bottom, what type of artifacts, because it can be computer, it can be phone data, it can be a bunch of different stuff. And so we're going to show information within the timeline relevant to whatever filters that you have configured. Okay. So the other cool thing that I just absolutely love, and I wish my test server was up, because there's a feature I don't have a screenshot of. I should just check it. If we have time, I'll just check it. But you can select an item here in the timeline view, but also in the thumbnail view. It's super cool where you can now see other dates and times that are associated with this item right here. So like I was talking about, like a picture might have 4 dates. It was taken at this time. It was copied at this time. The GPS time is this, whatever. Well, instead of having to go find all those or click on this image and then click on the thing, we added this little clock item here, and it'll show you all the dates associated with that entry.
Really?
So that then you can just be like, oh, here's what has happened. What's really cool, I'll have to check here if we get time. So I stumbled across this accidentally. So I was looking at a photo on our test server, and they had this little button next to it, and I clicked it, and you could see every time the picture was opened, as far as what metadata it knew, the link files and stuff like that. So it was super easy to, okay, hey, I wonder if they've looked at this photo, click on the timeline. Oh, they opened it on this date, and then they opened it on this date, and then they opened it on this date. And that's super important, especially in CSAM, those types of cases, is I didn't know it was there. Well, somebody opened it 3 times, and we can do that now, right? But you got to go find the link file, and you got to do some searching, and you got to put it together yourself. We're trying to, again, make it easier. Just coming back to kind of contradicting what I said before, let me give you a push button, Kevin. Let me just let you push this button. We're going to go out and find those link files ourselves.
It's right
we'll
there.
Show you that. Yeah.
It's freaking awesome.
So, yeah, I think that's a great feature. This window actually doesn't look like this. It looks so much better than this shot in the real one. But the idea is here, is that you can control what shows up in the timeline. Okay, you can filter down because you may not care about certain things. Totally. For example, with photos here, you may not care about the disk time. You, for whatever reason, you just care about when was the photo taken. I want to see the timeline of when photos were taken.
Right.
So you only care about EXIF created or capture time. So you can filter all that out.
You're trying to hit the buttons on there, aren't you? On that image.
I keep doing that. Yeah,
I
it's like,
seen you
okay,
doing it, so I'm just saying.
okay, okay.
I do the same thing, so I got to poke fun.
Yeah. You can tag and bookmark from the timeline view because it's not just the view here. We like, hey, okay, this is an image I care about. Let's categorize, right? Let's bookmark, let's label. Oh, so one of the things that we actually have done in this is we've looked over the fence at eDiscovery, and we've started to take a few things from that industry that if any of you are eDiscovery professionals, you're like, that's basic. We've done it for a long time. And you're like, yeah, but it's new to us, you know?
That's right.
Like we're bringing over a coding panel. And honestly, I didn't even know what a coding panel was.
I don't.
But
what is it?
It's basically like a simplified bookmark, but a more complex label. It like operates in this middle ground between a bookmark and a label. But the cool thing about it is you can set all this custom criteria and copy that template to multiple cases. And so let's say, Kevin, you're my supervisor or you're my attorney. And so I'm going to go through and review this stuff. With a coding panel, it's super simple for you to say, these are the 5 things I want Justin to check on every file that I've given him, right? I've given him a review set. And so I want him to categorize in Vic, and I want him to set sentencing enhancement. And then I want him to also mark whether or not this should be held for trial, and all that can be keyboard shortcut. And then not only can you do that, but then it creates filters based on that. So you can filter on that criteria and different stuff. So it's kind of this, I think of it as a more complex label, but a less robust bookmark. I don't know. It has its use cases. I was skeptical at first. I've kind of started to buy into it, but it's something we've stole from the eDiscovery legal review.
Yeah, it makes sense, especially in prosecution and all sorts of things when the prosecutor asks, because they're thinking prosecution, we're thinking find evidence. So they need certain things, and to be able to outline it that quickly and just kind of laid out that template, man, that's smart, really.
Yeah. And to your point, a big part of this is and what we've been working with various ICACs right now, who are in POC stages for some different projects, is collaborating between the investigator and the prosecutor without having to transfer jump drives and CDs and whatever evidence. And so having kind of this hybrid, pulling some stuff from eDiscovery so that those attorneys feel comfortable in the interface, so that when DeLong goes through and he marks all this stuff that, hey, here's all the case data and here's my report. They're used to reading coding panels and they're used to labels and that sort of thing. And so we've kind of made it so that an attorney can jump in and see what you've done and be like, all right, this is the information that we need. So yeah, absolutely.
That's very cool. Hey, real quick, if you guys have questions for Justin at any point, feel free to put them down into the chat. I know I've asked a couple questions down there and back and forth, but if you have them for Justin specifically, just ask him, and I'll make sure he gets those hopefully before we're done here.
And Mo, yeah, it looks more modern. Absolutely. And in fairness, the old FTK interface was designed in 2005. So who knows? Gosh, yeah. Who knows when it was designed, but it's been a minute.
I don't remember what year it was. It was before that.
Yeah, it's old. So you're absolutely right. In fairness, total disclosure, total transparency, when we've talked to people, maybe we've talked to someone on this call about FTK, and every single time hey, your interface looks outdated. Like, what is this? And you think about it. In my opinion, I've been an FTK fan long before Access Data hired me. We were an FTK shop. Obviously, it helps that they pay my bills now, of course, but I do love FTK. I've used it for years and years. Nobody really complains about our lack of speed, or we don't support enough artifacts or stuff like that. It was all that look. We had the fastest car, but we looked like a jalopy. We were just this broken down. We looked like a beater, even though our engine was fast. So what we've got to do is make things smoother, make things easier for the user. Okay, people would look at FTK. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. We fixed that. I think made some serious improvements here to make it flow a little better. And here's the thing that kills me about showing you guys screenshots. It actually looks more complicated in screenshots than it does in real life, which is so funny. But it just really flows. Things move out like they've focused. I'm really impressed. Like, and Kevin knows I'm always the guy in the background being like, hey, we got to fix this. We got to tweak this. We got to change this. We driving Kevin nuts when he worked here, with constant feedback and being like, hey, we got to change. But I've been really happy with this, and it's been impressive to me. But anyway, enough about that. So filtering your timeline, this is stuff that's fine. That's not interesting. It is interesting, but not the best. Here's what's cool. Side-by-side comparison. So you can bring in your choice, but you can bring in either 2 days and look at the timeline of 2 days on a system or your evidence items. Okay. Mm-hmm. Or you can compare 2 devices on the same day or different days, but I don't know how that would make sense. But so you have the option, either compare 2 devices or compare 2 dates. And that way, let's say me and Kevin are talking in a text, you can actually get our phones side by side in there and see, okay, here's their communications. I can see those in both timelines, but oh, hey, look at Kevin was also back channel talking to Mo about whatever and sending. And so we can kind of see at the same time what both devices were doing and try to chain some user activity together. So super helpful here. Again, you can pick 2 days. And so like, hey, Kevin normally does this on Monday and this on Wednesday, and let's see if they line up. Or what I think is the more compelling feature is two evidence items and get them side by side.
That's freaking sweet.
So, yeah, anyway, so this is the side by side here view, which I think is pretty cool as far as the timeline goes. Again, you have all your standard features or filters, I mean, in this, because it is a screenshot, they've got some weird stuff going on here, but notice we can see like connected USBs and command line stuff that we put in. And this again is where we've taken information from that we parse. And I've got another presentation on this somewhere on Cyber Social Hub. Check it out. But this system summary here, we've taken this information that we parse out and we've made it easier to view in a timeline view, kind of streamed it out a little bit. But we constantly add stuff that we're parsing out of system summary that we do from Mac, mobile, and Windows, such as, event logs, recent files, application, instant applications, all that registry stuff and configurations on Mac and etc. Just network information, all that sort of stuff can be brought in and timelined if you want into this view, and you can view your system. And this is where we can get into enterprise workflows or corporate workflows where you might be looking at email or document reviews or etc. Sys logs. All this will parse into this view. So for sure.
Man, that is stinking awesome. Now, is the whole interface like completely different?
Good question. So when you boot up FTK, you still get the this database window to pick your case.
Okay.
So you pick your case, and then what it's going to say is, hey, do you need to do some hex diving or whatever? Like, do you need the the legacy interface, or are you going to be reviewing data and you want to launch into the new one? And then you launch into the new one or keep it the old one. The complete overhaul, when I talk to product of where this legacy interface may go away, they have not set a deadline on that, but it's not soon, like at all soon. Um, so this first rollout 8.0 really emphasized, and I'm glad you asked that, Kevin. It really emphasizes kind of multimedia review, chat review, book, that sort of thing, document review. That's, that kind of workflow. Over time, we're going to be rolling in more and more features from legacy FTK into the new one. Okay. But they're trying to figure out, okay, we'll just take internet crimes against children, ICAC. They do this workflow. So we're going to say, we want to make sure ICAC can review and bookmark and report the data in this one interface. Yeah, if they have to go down and do this stuff, maybe they have to do it, but we'll implement that. Next, they may look at corporate and be like, okay, what does corporate do? We'll build that workflow in this update so that we want to minimize any fragmented workflow to where you would be constantly hopping back and forth. So it'll take some time to roll some things over. But yeah, another thing I got added to this, I just want to say, is one of the downsides of our central product, because it was built for a specific audience, was it didn't have tabs like FTK had tabs and other forensic software has tabs. This one will not have tabs. So you can actually be looking at this screen that we're showing, open a new tab and go to the timeline and then swap between tabs, but you don't have any preset tabs like we used to. And that gives you a little more flexibility right off the rip. We still have the quick selects like we do, but anyway, you get a bit more customization in your tab creation, which I like. Last thing I want to show, chat view. You're probably pretty familiar with a chat view. You can see it here. We can see who's in here. But one of the things that we added to this was this flag is privileged. Okay. If you want to hide something, hey, this thing can't be shown within the view here. Notice that we selected a message by check marking, actually 2 of them. We're going to flag this as privileged. And then what will happen is it blurs out those text messages so that when you report it, it comes out as blurred or flagged privileged or whatever. So we think that's important because you may, certain things may be important to the case. Other things may be, there's a term for it. Privileged, but there's, yeah. Whatever.
That definitely sounds like an e-discovery crossover to me in that particular feature, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, Manny. Yeah, exactly. And so you can mark those out and do that. Anyway, that's our update coming later this summer, and then there's going to be a bunch more. We're going to show it off at Techno. We're showing it off at ICAC. We're showing it off all over the place. We've got some stuff, but the whole idea here is to make it easier to move through your cases quicker, while not sacrificing the validation and the the forensically necessary low-level information. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah, I'm excited. So this will be live, or at least that server will be back up for Techno. And I get it, development's constantly doing oh man, it's insane. Those of you who've never seen how development works, hang on for that ride. But
yeah
it's a different style of thinking altogether. The developers are geniuses, I'll give them that, but man, they think different completely. So Techno, right? Server's gonna be up, or at least something that we can take a look at.
Absolutely. Yep. We're gonna have a bunch of demos, able to show stuff, get feedback. Again, super important that we get that feedback, both positive and negative. But I think we've got a lot of good stuff coming. We've got other things as well. I'll just tease that we do have, it's not just going to be 8.0 with the new interface. We have a bunch of new systems and a bunch of new products coming later this summer. We're not quite talking about them yet, but in the automation space for law enforcement, especially, we've got some good stuff coming. Anyway, we got some cool stuff coming. And yeah, so here's the thing. I know it's always sketchy when a company buys another company, and trust me, I was pretty skeptical when Exterro bought Access Data. It was kind of a nervous time, but man, have they dumped the resources into FTK. It's definitely not just something they bought to put some feather in their cap or something. They have invested in every aspect of the tool, and
That's awesome.
it's been cool. So we got a lot of cool stuff coming.
I am looking forward to seeing it. And the new tagline is, hey, it's not just about the socks. That's really what, when you come to the booth,
They help.
Not just the socks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to be down there live, and maybe I can snatch you up for an actual quick peek at it. I think we're doing just like little segments of the main show here, trying to keep it down to 15 to 30 minutes. Is that enough time to kind of maybe see a live version of it?
Sure. Yeah.
Maybe. We'll try to figure out a way to how to interface it. I have no idea at the live show to do that, but we'll
just
figure
I'll
it out.
hold up a laptop.
There you go. Very cool. Yeah, get it working on the tablet. That would be stinking awesome. Now
we're close. Close.
See, I'm pulling information out of Justin slowly.
Yeah.
Probably saying things he's not supposed to.
I know. See, that's the great thing about working from home is you don't have the marketing person in the back that can hit you with a cane saying, no, right? You can't say that.
They're on the other side of the camera holding up signs. Shut up.
I know.
No,
can't say that. Yeah, I know.
Can't do it. Oh, man. I'm going to look down through chat here real quick. Justin looks really nice, super clean. So Manny likes it. You got the Manny sign off on it. So even Mo says it looks good. Hang on. Where's Manny's? There's Manny. Super nice, clean. Yep. Hey, Manny's going to be down there next week as well.
Yep.
So
absolutely.
There we go. If we can get him maybe showing it on one of his Bitmine machines, that'd be awesome. So
there we go. There we go.
Not that I'm stirring pots.
Working on hooking him up with a license right now. So
just saying, there you go. Very nice stuff. All right, I think I got everything. If I'm missing a question, please get it out there right now. Before we go, make sure, because I know there's a few of you still here, make sure you give a thumbs up on this, hit the notifications. And Justin, you're still running your podcast, yeah?
Yeah, FTK over the air.
That's right. So, I was just on the site to make sure that you were before I asked it. So I wanted to know the answer before.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
So yeah, if you guys get a chance, just do a search for that FTK over the air. Mine was, I'm just saying, it was like the third one down, and we did it like 5 months ago. So I'm just saying, hey, it was right there. It popped up in a Google search, third one down. So even though not that many people watched me, because it's me, but I was on the show. It was fun. So if you guys want to watch that podcast, go and check it out. If you're going to be at Techno Security, head on over to their booth. You'll find it. Booth numbers at the shows our size, I think, are kind of funny sometimes, because it's like, we're a booth 594. I'm like, yeah, just walk around the corner. You'll see them.
Do they even give out a map, though? I don't even know.
I don't think so.
Yeah. So
I see it all over social media. Everyone's like, visit us at booth this. And I'm like, second left. You got it.
Yeah, exactly. Walk around.
You'll see it. Just walk around once or twice. You'll find us. So go check them out. I'm curious. I'm going to make sure I'm there to see it live. And, of course, get some socks. It's just the way it's going to work.
Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Justin, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Oh, he says Megan's saying the new venue, so maybe there are maps now. There are maps. Actually, I looked at one because Abby, who also is here at Cyber Social Hub, she found an actual map. Or Megan, was it you? I can't remember, but there is a map. If you go, you had to dig around on their site for a little bit. I think it's the actual convention center in Wilmington who has the map.
Oh, okay.
So, which was to me the first time that it was. So, it's pretty cool. All
cool.
Right. Justin, thanks so much for hanging out with us again. Always appreciate it, and I'll see you next week. To everyone else, thank you. Don't forget, next week we're going to be going live Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, down from Techno Security in Wilmington. So we will see you guys there. Again, Justin, thank you.
Thank you.